The women showed out in Madrid last week, but now it's time to keep the party going in Italy for the 2024 Italian Open. Will the Big Three continue their sweep of the big clay court titles here in the Foro Italico, or will a new woman emerge and take the crown? Hey, I'm Christian Basnight, and welcome to Christian's Court, where I cover tennis from all angles. Now, before I delve into this draw, let's look at some of our projected quarterfinals. First, we have top seed Iga Swiatek potentially going up against 6th seed Marketa Vondrousova. Then Coco Gauff, once again, projected to face Qinwen Zhang, Maria Sakkari, and then Elena Rybakina. And then finally, rematch of Wimbledon semifinal between Ons Jabeur and Aryna Sabalenka. Looking at Iga Swiatek's section path to potentially winning a second title here in Rome, of course she gets a first round bye as all the top 32 seeds do, and she could open up against American Caroline Dolehide, followed by another American, Sloane Stephens, and then in round 4, she could meet Ekaterina Alexandrova, who actually beat her in the 4th round in Miami earlier this year, and then the quarterfinals, Marketa Vondrousova, semifinals, Coco Gauff, and then finally in the final, Aryna Sabalenka. Now, first starting with Iga Swiatek's section, Sloane Stephens is the biggest threat for her in that top little portion. The American, though, will have a tough opener regardless in either Martina Trevisan or Yulia Putintseva. Stephens had to battle past Trevisan in her opening round match in Madrid, and Yulia Putintseva, meanwhile, she nearly beat Rybakina in the quarterfinals there. She had 2 match points. Now, Stephens, she earned the title already this year on clay and ruin, and she's very dangerous on this surface, but Iga is the queen of clay, and as she's never lost a match, let alone a set to the American in their 3 previous meetings. Both Kudermetova and Alexandrova have earned wins over the pole in the last 9 months. Those two are set to meet in the 3rd round, with the winner facing Swiatek in the 4th. Kudermetova had a great run to the semifinals here in Rome last year, and she seems to enjoy the conditions, so I favor her there to be her compatriot should they play. Slam champion Angelique Kerber is there too, but I do not expect much from her on clay at this point in her career. Matter of fact, she lost to Raducanu 2-1 in the Stuttgart opening round. Kudermetova and Alexandrova are Iga's 2 biggest threats overall in this section, but seeing as how they both lost early in Madrid last week, there is a possibility that Swiatek will face a qualifier in round 4, so I'm sending the more reliable pole through. Next, at top at Marketa Vondrousova's section, there's Beatriz Haddad-Maia, who could play Madison Keys in the third round, and both women actually lost to Iga in Madrid in the quarterfinals and semifinals respectively. Sorana Cristea is another one who fell to Iga in the Spanish capital. She could meet Vondrousova in the 3rd round, but I'm sure lefties and former doubles partners Taylor Townsend and Leylah Fernandez want something to say about that. Marketa is good on clay, but she did not perform well in Madrid. However, I do think the Rome conditions suit her game a little bit more, as well as she's a former semifinalist in this tournament. Beatriz Haddad-Maia and Keys have also gone deep here in previous years, so I could see either one of them progressing as well. I am going to pick the Brazilian lefty Bia, though, to move through here, as she showed very promising signs in Madrid, and I think that she is poised for another quarterfinal showing here. 3rd seed Coco Gauff could open against Magdalena Frech, followed by Barbora Krejcikova in the 3rd round, Lumila Samsonova in the 4th, Qinwen Zhang in the quarterfinals, Iga Swiatek in the semifinals, and then finally Aryna Sabalenka. Looking at her in her section, I think that Coco, kind of analyzing her game from what we saw from her in Madrid, I think she looked better from the ground there, and her serve will be a big area that we'll want to look at when looking at her. Coco could face 2021 Roland Garros champion Barbora Krejcikova in the 3rd round, which would be a popcorn match, but I do not know if Barbs will make it that far considering her recent singles form and her trying to find her way back from injury. The bottom portion is very interesting and full of dangerous players. Of course, Ludmila Samsonova and Emma Navarro, but we have the popcorn 1st round match of the tournament between Mira Andreeva and Paula Badosa. Andreeva played very well in Madrid, making the quarterfinals there. She beat 3 seeds en route, and she will be making her Rome debut here. Badosa, meanwhile, has been dealing with injuries all season, and she does not have any momentum at all really coming into this match. Therefore, I favor the 17-year-old here in this one. Badosa, by the way, recently announced her breakup with Stefanos Tsitsipas, so I just had to throw that little bit of tennis news in there to keep y'all informed. Anyways, young Russian lefty Diana Schneider could cause problems for our seeded Samsonova as well. Still, I have faith in my cousin Coco that the serve will be better here in Rome, and I think once again the ground game is there. It's just now a matter of putting the pieces all together, which I think that she will do this tournament. Now next is Qinwen Zhang's section. I think this section is the weakest, mainly due to these Italian Kayas, the tournament gifted wild cards too. Marta Kostyuk is there. She lost early in Madrid, and I think that loss was due to her just being tired from that long week she had in Stuttgart. The Ukrainian could play Naomi Osaka in the second round, which could be excellent, but Osaka, though, cannot overlook the potential challenge aimed French woman Clara Burel, who nearly beat Coco Gauff in Indian Wells. Osaka has been saying that something is big on the way from her, and I think that she needs to prove that now this tournament. So hopefully it comes out, but I am not sure. Of course, we know clay is not her best surface, and these women do know how to play on this surface, especially in her section. They're a little bit more comfortable on the dirt compared to she is. So it'll be interesting to see how she overcomes that challenge in itself. Now, I think Linda Noskova too, she's there. I think she has a decent opportunity to make a deep run here. Zhang, who is her possible third round opponent, has not shown the best form since the Australian Open. And she also pulled out of Madrid due to a thigh issue, so I'm not really expecting much from her here either. This one will be tough to choose as far as who will make it out, but I honestly am gonna go with Daria Kasatkina, just, because why not? She is the more consistent and more, solid and steady overall, I guess, out of any of these players here, so, why not her? Next, looking at Maria Sakkari's section, the Greek women could play last year's runner-up and Helena Kalinina in round 3. I think that Sakkari has been playing decent tennis the last 3 months, and I honestly favor her to progress to the second week. Victoria Azarenka is here too. She's a former finalist. She could face Magda Linette in round 2, which could be tough for the Belarusian for sure. This will be a big tournament though for Jasmine Paolini, who returns to her home tournament as a WTA 1000 champion and on the cusp of cracking the top 10. Going deep could be major for her here, and she'll have all the home crowd support, which can also go a long way. With her form right now, and like I said, that home crowd support, I favor the plucky Italian to make it through to the quarterfinals. Elena Rybakina will likely open her title defense against Irina Camelia Begu, and then she is projected to play Lisa Mertens in the third round, Danielle Collins in the fourth, Maria Sakkari in the quarterfinals, Aryna Sabalenka in the semifinals, and then finally, of course, Iga Swiatek in the final. The top threat for Rybakina, honestly, is Danielle Collins in this section. That would be a potential fourth-round opponent for her, and it would be a rematch of the Miami Open Finals, which Collins took in straight sets. Now, Danielle's 15-match win streak was snapped last week in Madrid by Sabalenka, but I still expect the Dynamo to come here and play some solid tennis this tournament. Collins will likely face Caroline Garcia in the third round, who she's actually never lost a set against in their 4 previous meetings. We know, of course, Rybakina can perform well here in Rome as she went all the way last year, but a big question for me will be whether she'll be physically fit after these demanding matches in Stuttgart and Madrid back-to-back, and now coming here to play Rome. I think her draw definitely allows herself to play into form. Mertens is solid, but that's still a winnable match for her. The matchup just favors Rybakina pretty well. But of course, Collins, that would be the biggest obstacle, I feel. But still, I do favor Rybakina in that one should they play, so I will be sending the defending champion through to the quarterfinals. Next is Ons Jabeur's section. Ons, I felt, played much better last week in Madrid, and she probably should have made the semifinals, but she did fumble that 6-love, 2-love lead over Madison Keys. Ons, of course, she enjoys the conditions here in Rome, being a 2022 finalist, and she plays well here typically, and I think she does have a great draw here. Yes, Kenin is a potential second-round opponent. She's a slam champion, which Ons is not, but Kenin, obviously, she's really not in any type of good form. Katie Bolter is still searching for that maiden win on clay, so I don't really expect her to be too much of a challenge should they face off in the third round. And then Yelena Ostapenko, though, while she made the semis here last year, she is unpredictable herself, and she was dominated by Jabeur in their round of 16 clash in Madrid last week. If you hadn't guessed it already, I will be setting Jabeur through to the Elite 8. Aryna Sabalenka could open against Chinese woman Yafan Wang, and then she could meet Diana Yastremska in the third round, another Ukrainian, Elena Svitolina, in the fourth, Ons Jabeur in the quarterfinals, Elena Rybakina in the semis, and Iga in the final. I honestly think Sabalenka has a very good section. Both the Ukrainians, Svitolina and Yastremska, haven't done much since Melbourne, and the biggest threat might be Amanda Anisimova or Anna Kalinskaya, but I believe Sabalenka would clear both should she play them, either one of them. I do have concerns though about her being tired coming from that 13-hour plus marathon fortnight in Madrid, but I think she'll be okay, and I will send her through to the quarterfinals. Now, looking at all my predictions in the quarterfinals, I have Iga and Bia, Coco and Daria, Jasmine Paolini and Elena Rybakina, and of course Ons and Sabalenka. Then progressing through to the semifinals, I have Haddad, Maya, and Gauff, followed by Jasmine Paolini and Ons Jabeur. And then finally in the final, I have a final between Coco Gauff and Ons Jabeur, and I'll have Coco take the title. I know y'all are probably shocked as heck by these predictions, but I honestly think that they aren't too outlandish. The biggest nub here is, of course, Iga losing at all because she is the undisputed queen of clay, but I simply have a feeling that she'll lose before the semifinals, and I just can't shake it or explain it that well. And I think that Haddad Maia, although obviously her and Iga played last week in Madrid, and Iga came out on top of that one, I think that Haddad Maia showed the potential that she can trouble Iga on clay, especially if Iga is not 100% on the dirt. And I honestly do not expect her to bring her 100% game here for this tournament. Talking about why I didn't have the other members of the big three progress past the quarterfinals either, first starting with Elena, I honestly could see Rybakina pulling the cord on this tournament early. To be honest, midway, citing a physical ailment. This tournament is pretty close to Roland Garros with that second slam around the corner, and she's already had a lot of match reps on the clay, going deep in both Stuttgart and Madrid. And honestly, she has not gone that deep. Rybakina hasn't at a slam in a minute, and I think that her and her team should prioritize, at least, or will prioritize that going deep over a slam, in a slam, over trying to defend this title. And not to mention, she's just very injury prone and is susceptible to issues after all the tennis she's played lately. I think Aryna Sabalenka might be a similar case and will likely be too gassed to make a deep run. I think her draw is definitely good enough to where she can make it out the first week, but I can see her have a flop match and lose in the quarterfinals to someone like Jabeur. Although, mind you, I do think, if physically she's okay, I think she can win the whole tournament, no doubt, because she played tremendous tennis in Madrid, and I think that she's finally found her form, and it all clicked for her after that Daniel Collins match. But, I just think that we can't underestimate the toll that tournament put her under. Now, speaking about Jabeur, I think that she's rounding into form nicely herself and is due for an edgy result for sure. As I mentioned earlier, she typically performs well in Rome, and I think her draw presents a nice opportunity for her to have a true first standout result of this season. Now with Coco, I know y'all might say I'm crazy for this pick, but I don't care. I have faith in my cousin that she can start to turn things around and bring things together for Rome, and I think that she will use her Madrid service issues as a wake-up call, and I expect to see, more of the Coco that we've been expecting to see ever since she raised her first title at the US Open. A lot of this, though, is riding on Iga losing before the semifinals where they would clash, but I still give Coco a solid shot to test the pole should they play. That's all I have for now, and let me know in the comments what you all think about my picks, and let me know who y'all think will go deep here in Rome. Also, make sure y'all subscribe and click the notification bell so you're notified whenever I do post Rome content throughout the tournament. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.